It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
It's showtime. What's happening, everybody? Good afternoon, good evening, well, good morning, depending on where you are watching me live right now. Yes, it's time for the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern here on the East Coast in the beautiful Charleston, South Carolina metro, 5:30 in Chicago or Memphis or Houston or Dallas, 3:30 out in Los Angeles or San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to do me a favor. Help a brother out. Help out a small black-owned business, black entrepreneur, media company entrepreneur and owner. I need you to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Like, share, subscribe, and tell everybody you know, your friends, your family, your co-workers, your church members, your sorority and fraternity sisters and brothers, your club members, all the Masons and Eastern Stars, neighbors, folks you don't even like, strangers, aliens, to like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel. Check me out live every weekday, like I said, Monday through Friday. All right, do that for a brother. My new subscribers has grown dramatically. I thank you so much. And my views, you guys, more and more people are watching, checking it out, clicking on the show, watching it live, leaving comments. Feel free to, if you're watching me live, feel free to leave some comments right there. I've got my chat room open. I'll glance over if I see some comments in there, everybody. Thank you so much. But do that for a brother, hook a brother up. And if you would like to advertise, shout out to all potential advertisers. Shout out to all potential sponsors. Shout out to my white allies that are looking to partner up with a small black-owned business. Holla at your boy. I am right here. If you are looking for the ultimate pitch man or brand ambassador, that's the term used now to help build your brand and your business. Like, Beyonce and Jay-Z are brand ambassadors, brand new brand ambassadors for Tiffany. So Tiffany, you can holler at your boy because I can deliver for you too. So I am the king of pitchmen, not the king, but the king of pitchmen. Leave me a message right here. My name, Geno Jones Show, Gmail. There you go, real quick. That's the email address. Geno Jones Show. That's how you spell it at Gmail. So let me start off today. I don't have a guest today. I got my monologue for you, my daily monologue. What would you think if President Joseph Robinette Biden, on January 6th, when you saw the domestic terrorists, the insurrectionists, the treasonists storm the United States Capitol, build a gallows to hang the, at that time, current Vice President Mike Pence, while they were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence," who were, once they stormed the Capitol, ransacking and rampaging and rummaging through the Capitol, looking for Nancy Pelosi's office, looking for my congressman, Jim Clyburn's office, looking for Nancy Pelosi, referring to her as a bitch. Where's that bee? We want to shoot that bee in the head. We want to kill that bee. Oh, there are receipts. That means there's documentation. The video is out there. Don't take my word for it. So what would you think of President-elect? Because on January 6th, Joseph R., the R is for Robinette. So President-elect Joseph R. Biden. What would you think if he just left the country? No news conference, didn't tell anybody, even his closest advisors. All of a sudden, January 6th, the president-elect just disappeared, just cut and ran, left the country, while the white nationalists, the treasonists, the insurrectionists, the racists, the neo-Nazis, the 3%ers, the Oath Keepers, the racist white militia groups, the Proud Boys, Wow, they attempted a coup. They attempted a violent coup. Not like a non-violent coup. That was attempted by the dude I referred to as Orange Hitler. But what would you think of the, at that time, President-elect Biden if he would have just left the country? What would you say if the Capitol Police, the DC Metro Police, and the National Guards just took off their uniforms, threw them down, hit them, threw them in trash cans, like Ice Cube and my man Mike Epps did in Next Friday, like Craig and Day did. They were top flight security, but when the gangbangers came, they was cut and run. They went from top flight to my ass is out security. And we're not gonna leave any evidence. Throw the uniform in the trash can, throw the damn whistle with it, and try to blend in. What would you think if our National Guard and the DC Metro Police and the Capitol Police would have done that? Would have ran, just said, F it, we're out. Hey man, y'all have at it, do what you want to do. Now, why do I ask that question? Because that's what happened in Afghanistan. That is what happened in Afghanistan. We witnessed it over the weekend. The president, have you ever heard a president not sticking around literally to fight to defend his country? This dude wasn't an immigrant. He's an Afghani. The president cut and ran, didn't even stick around. His defense team is like, wow, really? So the president, so can you imagine if the president of the United States, because we were attacked, our nation's capital was attacked by quote unquote, in theory, fellow Americans. A violent attack, insurrection on January 6th. The Taliban didn't even fire a shot. Stormed into the capital of Afghanistan, Kabul, in them little trucks and jeeps, cheering, screaming, and yelling, waving guns in the air, and didn't have to fire a shot. Just rolled up to the presidential palace and put their feet up on the desk. You know, what did that scene remind you of? Storming a presidential palace, like storming the U.S. Capitol. People storming the office, just walking around like it's their home, sitting at the president's desk with their feet up on the desk. Why does that scene look and sound familiar? Oh, I know why. Because it happened on January 6th. But those terrorists, they weren't the Taliban. They were the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the Three Percenters and the neo-Nazis and Ku Klux Klan and the white nationalist militia groups. So why do I tell that story? I just wanted to kind of frame this whole conversation about what's happening in Afghanistan and where we are. Let me say this again. I want to thank, I can't thank the men and women who served in Afghanistan. All the men and women who wear our uniform, who went over to Afghanistan, who were following the orders of their commander-in-chief. A 20-year war, a war that we have been trying to get out of since really 2014. President Obama wanted to get us out of there, and actually before that, but definitely since 2014. A war that spanned 4 presidents. George W. Bush, 2 terms of President Obama, Orange Hitler, and now Joe Biden. So 4 U.S. presidents, 5 presidential terms, well 4, this is the beginning of President Biden's term. 20 years. An army the Afghan army that we trained for at least a decade, that we invested at least 90 billion with a B, $90 billion of your tax dollars and mine. The best training, our special forces, our soldiers, our airmen, our servicemen and women, the best teaching, the best training that they could get on the planet. And at the end of the day, yes, many Afghans, by a multiplier of probably more than 10 or 20 times, maybe 25, maybe 25 times more Afghanis died in this 20-year war than American soldiers. But they died fighting to defend their country. Their country. But then you will wonder, so what happened in the end? What army would just really, at the end of the day, just cut and run and just say, hey man, come on, y'all have it. As a matter of fact, we're gonna join you all. Can you imagine that in America? Can you imagine it? Can you imagine any other military? I can't imagine it happening. I can't imagine the French doing that. The Chinese definitely, I guarantee you, the Chinese military would never, you wouldn't see that happen in China. You wouldn't see it happen. France, Germany, you wouldn't see the British military do that. I can guarantee you that. You would not see the Israeli military do that. I can guarantee you that. So, I'm gonna say this again. I can't want something for you more than you want it for yourself. But let me just, before I go there, I need to go back to this. I can't thank the men and women in the military that served, fought, and died in Afghanistan, that lost limbs or eyes, or that's dealing with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, the trauma that their families underwent. And I do have respect for the members of the Afghan military that fought, served, died, and protected our men and women in uniform who went to Afghanistan. Not to nation build, not to protect the Afghan people, because they had a military to do that. We built up the military. We basically gave them an air force, gave them an Air Force base, Bagram Air Force Base that they couldn't keep, gave them the best training. They outnumbered the Taliban 3-1, 300,000 to 75,000, far superior weapons. They had an Air Force, and after 10 years, they couldn't find men and women who could maintain control of an Air Force that was given to you. Superior weapons, far superior weapons, drones, far superior to the Taliban. At some point, I can't want to fight to protect your home more than you want to protect your home. There was a commercial, Under Armour, Hall of Fame football player, used to play for the Baltimore Ravens, two-time Super Bowl champion Ray Lewis. There was a TV commercial some years back for Under Armour. They had sportswear and, just it's an athletic gear company. But the theme of the commercial was, and you would hear Ray Lewis, because he's a really dynamic, motivational speaker. And it was like he was giving his teammates a speech. We must protect this. We must protect our house. We must protect this house. I'm paraphrasing, but we must protect our house. At the end of the day, I can't expect anybody to protect my house more than myself. I can't expect you to be willing to die to protect my house if I'm not willing to die to protect my house? How can I expect you to invest more into protecting my house than I'm willing to invest? That just didn't make sense on any level, not at all. I mean, you think about it. We got to be honest. But I have compassion and humanity and empathy. I saw the fear, even though it was ironic. And I got to pass this on. You've seen the video of hundreds of Afghanis that were chasing this C-17, this giant military aircraft, the United States Air Force. They've got these huge planes. There's an Air Force base that's not too far from me here in the Charleston metro area. And I've seen these huge, just ginormous, these C-17s, you could probably put 4 or 5 regular airplanes, I'm just guessing, in a C-17. And you saw people, Afghanis, running along the side. Some jumping on the wing while the plane was taxiing down the runway, trying to grab hold to the engine. I heard there was one Afghani they found dead in, I guess, in the cargo area. Somehow climbed into the plane, was able to get into the cargo area. Probably froze to death. But the interesting thing was, you go back and look at that video. They were all men, primarily all young men. Looked like they're in their 20s and 30s, maybe some in their 40s. The majority of these men looked like they were between 20 and 40, definitely between 20 and 50, that were running along the side of this C-17 aircraft. And it was brought to my attention, said, well, wow, why were these men not willing to turn around to grab weapons, the superior weapons that the United States military, the United States government and the United States taxpayers paid for and gave to the Afghan military? If the military fled, why weren't those same men that were chasing this aircraft, this military aircraft that belonged to the United States, why were they not willing to turn around, go back, grab guns and other weapons and to fight for their country? And if these same men live in a culture where men are willing to stone women for adultery or whatever they feel like stoning women from, being literally stoning women, throwing stones. That's what they call stoning women, to the point to where in some cases they kill women. They stone them to death because of things like adultery or not dressing properly or just whatever the hell they decide they want to stone a woman for. This has been part of their culture for centuries. So you're willing to take up a rock, to pick up a stone and stone your own women, but you're not willing to pick up a gun to defend those women and children, your women and children and yourself. You're not willing to pick up a gun to defend them and yourself against the Taliban. But then people expect America and our men and women to continue to be willing to lay their lives on the line. Now, it may sound harsh, but I just, listen, full disclosure, I've never served a second in the military, but I have at least 3 living family members. One who is a retired master sergeant in the Marines. He'll be my guest on Friday. Another one that was in the Marines, 2 others that were in the Air Force. And I've had long conversations with all of them since all this has happened over the weekend. And the general consensus at the end of the day that we can, after 20 years, we should not be willing, it is not our, if the Afghan people are not willing to fight anymore and potentially die anymore for their country, why should Americans stay there and fight and die for a country that doesn't belong to them, when the people that live there and own the country are no longer willing, for whatever reason, the men, not the women, the men. If the men in that country, in that society and culture, are not willing to fight and die for their country and to protect their women and children. You have to ask that question, because that's the elephant in the room that you can't run from. Now, at the same time, I want to tell a quick story. I'm going to share the story, personal story, but I'm going to connect it to my next main point and theme. When I was a little boy, my grandfather, one of his many pearls of wisdoms, he would tell me, he would say, Jeannie, your word is your bond. Your word is your bond. That means when you make a promise, you keep the promise. Period. Full stop. That's it. You make the promise, you keep it. And the only way you don't, it has to be extreme circumstances. If you can't keep that promise at the moment, but as soon as you can keep that promise, you go back and you keep that promise. Why do I tell that story? I've seen, I've heard many, especially many men and women who served in Afghanistan. Heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, touching stories that could bring you to tears about how Afghan translators and those who fought alongside, who were translators and maybe some members of the Afghan military, civilians that helped, fought, saved the lives of some of our very own men and women in the military. And they are embarrassed and outraged. And basically, and I don't disagree. Actually, I agree with their sentiment. Now, and that goes back to what my grandfather taught me as a little boy. Your word is your bond. You make a promise, you look a man or woman in their eye, and you make them a promise, you keep the promise. Period. That's it. You can put a period at the end of that sentence. How it gets done, matter if it's inconvenient or not, you make the promise, you keep the promise. Period. So, this country made a promise to thousands of these Afghanis or Afghans. I mean, no disrespect. Those men and women from Afghanistan, translators, other people that so many other areas they helped, those in the military, or they call non-governmental organizations, nonprofit organizations. You made these people a promise. I know there's a deadline to get everybody out of there by August 31st. One thing I would say to you, President Biden, you make a promise. You didn't make the promise, but the promise was made on behalf of the United States. And one of the best things that you said in your speech, you said, I am the President of the United States of America, and the buck stops with me. And the buck does stop with you. Keep the promise. The racists, the xenophobes, the white nationalists have already, the drumbeat, the narrative, their racist narrative has already begun. Well, you know, Joe Biden purposely wanted the country to collapse so he could bring in all of these dark people, all of these foreigners. And my God, who knows? They could be terrorists. They could be members of ISIS or Al-Qaeda. We don't know. All these people just flooding the country. He wanted that to happen so he could bring in all these brown people, and then they could vote for him and he could remain in power. I know how racist and ignorant that is. But that chant, that conversation, that narrative has already begun. So, like you said, you know that you're going to be criticized. So those races and xenophobes, people who are xenophobic, which is another form of hate and bigotry, racism, let them do what they're going to do, because they are irrelevant, because you are the president of the United States of America, like you said on Monday. And yes, the buck does stop with you. So this August 31st deadline, just like you approved that deadline, well, guess what? You can reset the deadline. You can extend the deadline. Do what you have to do. The smartest political decision that you can make, President Biden, you got people paid a whole lot more money, way more money than me, way more politically savvy, way more receipts than me. An entertainer, a TV and radio host, TV show and radio show host. But I got a little common sense. And the best political decision that you could make is to make sure that you get every American and try to get all the Afghanis that helped us. Will you be able to get each and every single one? There's a good chance, maybe not. Maybe you can't go hundreds of miles and deep into these villages and in the mountains, but make the effort, the optics, that's the term I'm looking for. Make sure not just the optics look good, because we know that you are a man of compassion, empathy, and humanity. You got the receipts on that. There's nothing phony about that. So you will be very much, to use a couple terms, political term, you'll be very much on message. Or as my oldest daughter, Boogie, who says, with marketing and advertising and promotion background, you would be very much on brand. And that just means that it would really reflect who you are perceived as being and who you really are. Because one thing we can say that you are a man of humanity, compassion, and empathy. You have displayed it. I've seen it up close and personal myself. So use that compassion, empathy, humanity. Come back out sometime soon. Look into the camera like you did yesterday and say, our goal is to get everybody out by August 31st. But if we don't have every American, and we're going to try to get every person from Afghanistan that helped any American, we are determined to get them all out. That is my goal. And if somehow you miss one, let that be out of just because we couldn't do it. Maybe commission, but not omission. But make sure that should be your message, because that's the best thing that you could do politically, because people would understand. And you can use my analogy. Feel free. You can thank my grandfather up in heaven, Conway Jones. Your word, President Biden, and everybody else, your word is your bond. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel. Do it now. Tell everybody you know. Do me a favor. I need you to text 20 people, tag 50 people. You got all those Facebook friends. You got about 5,000. Tag about 50. Hell, tag 100. And tell 20 more they need to watch the Geno Jones Show. Must see TV. You got to check it out. Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. And if you can't watch it live, you can go back and watch it. Just go to my channel. You'll see every episode archived. It's like on demand. Just go back and watch it on demand. When you demand to watch it, it's there for you. This episode is going to be up as soon as I end this live broadcast. This show is going to be up on my YouTube channel, and you can go back and play it and rewind it. You can go and you can screen grab 30 seconds or 60 seconds or 90 seconds of this monologue. Please put it up on TikTok, put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook in your story, put it on Twitter. Let's make it go viral. Make some of this monologue go viral. As a matter of fact, screen grab it, send it to President Biden. Do that for somebody. Please do that for a brother. My young people, you all know, and some of the not so young folks, you all know how to screen grab it. Just grab about 30, 60 seconds. Grab about a minute of that conversation about your word is your bond. Tag it at POTUS on Twitter, Instagram. You can find them. Just put it up there. It'll get to him. You know, grab it and put it up on your YouTube channel. I promise you he'll see it. Do that for me. I appreciate it. So like, share, and subscribe. And tag this episode. Tag it to everybody you know. Copy the link. Post the link on Instagram. Post the link on your YouTube channel. Post it on your Facebook page. Post it on your Twitter account. If you'd like to advertise, if you'd like to be a sponsor, I'd be honored to have you as a sponsor. I'd be honored to have you as an advertiser. I would be honored to be your pitch man or your brand ambassador because I am the king of pitch men. Geno Jones Show at Gmail. That's my Gmail. Geno Jones, that's how you spell it, with an E, at Gmail. Or leave me a message right here on my YouTube channel. Thank you to Mary Dixon, a.k.a. my mother. Thank you. My mother's the best. She is simply the best. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, everybody, for it. Thank you for the 2 thumbs up. She is simply the best. All right, everybody. I love each and every one of you. I really, really, really do. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm really looking forward to having my new sponsors. I'd love to do business with you. I'd love to help you. We could grow together. I would love to help build your brand, your business, and it grow along with mine. Let's do this together, especially black folks, brown folks, white folks, native folks, Asian folks. Let's do this together. United, we stand, and divided, we fall. Reach out to me. I'd love to have you as a new sponsor or a new advertiser. I really do. Mother, you know I love you more than life itself. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Also, shout out to Alexandria Jones. She's the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Fashion designer, fashion design major, supermodel, out of Chicago, attending my alma mater, Columbia College Chicago. Shout out to Columbia College Chicago. Fashion design major. You can check her out on Instagram. Lexie underscore is that line at the bottom. Lexie underscore line below. Nicole, Nicole, Lexie Nicole Designs, or Alexandria Jones. That's her other page. Alexandria. Alexandria Jones. And Bruce Gage, also wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out. Also, you can search Instagram and Facebook. Bruce Gage, Gage. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram, on IG, Kelby Cutting Up. KELBECUTTINUP. Kelby Cutting Up on Instagram. Markel Bailey, MarkelBailey on Facebook. Search him out. Once again, I want to thank everybody for your comments. Please, if you're watching this after I do it live, I'd love to see and hear your comments. Whether you agree or not, think I'm crazy, think I'm spot on, think I'm whatever. That's your opinion. And we all got one. Just like we all got one of something else. You know the same. I can't thank you enough for watching, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So until tomorrow, 6:30 or Wednesday, because I don't know what time, if you're not watching it live, I don't know what time you're watching it. But until Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Now, tomorrow may be a go back and binge watch best of episode of the Geno Jones Show. So you'll know. I'll let you know on social media. However, Thursday, I got a very special guest on Thursday, R&B singer Lyfe Jennings. He's got a brand new single and a brand new album. He is going to be my guest. We're going to talk about his music, talk about what it was like as a performer that had to basically kind of just sit out like all of us did for the last year and a half because of COVID-19. How did that affect him as a performer and a person? And is he looking forward to getting back on stage? And we're going to talk about this new music, his single and his album. So Lyfe Jennings live on the Geno Jones Show Thursday. This Thursday, that would be the 19th, August 19th, 6:30 p.m. So until Wednesday, 6:30 p.m., one more thing. I just want to say, be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.